2019 priorities. I've already mentioned them. I'm just going to whiz through. There are some supply chain roundtables where we are actively trying to recruit more suppliers. Fresh frozen tuna, Japan. Squid, South Korea. And there are others. We have 16 million tons already in progress. That's a huge number. But we need to get them formally across the starting line. They are not yet in FIPS. That's that speckled part of the pie chart that I put up. That's a ton of fish, 16 million tons. If we can get all of that moving, that would have a huge implication. And then we need to, I don't want anyone to forget, it's very hard for anyone to maintain two targets at the same time. But if all we do is launch new projects that then don't achieve very much, ultimately that's not a great outcome. So we, again, for the T75, it's about those FIPS having shown an impact in the water, ideally. Some real substantive change. I'll get to that in a minute. But I used to say to anyone who was launching a FIP, what's your advice? I'd say, like, you know, that famous movie, show me the money. In that case, I don't mean the money. I mean, show me the results. Show me the policy change. Show me that your FIP has oomph. Show me that you can get to a minister, have a conversation, and get a policy change. Because I can tell you, having sat and led a whole bunch of FIPs myself, it is extremely hard to know what's going on behind closed doors between industry and their ministers. And so even in the FIPs I was leading back in the day when we did that, I wasn't confident it was a good FIP until I saw a policy change come out the far end of the sausage-making machine that I had asked for. And if you don't deliver that early in the FIP, you're asking for a ton of trust. Well, it's coming. Believe me, it's coming. And now, not good enough. I'm sorry. Figure out what you can get delivered now that sends a clear message to anyone asking that your FIP has oomph and you're getting results. Get some results. So we are going to focus very heavily on that in 2019, particularly for those groups, the FIPs that aren't at that level yet. And finally, if we're going to achieve T75, we cannot persist with individual suppliers working with a few boats and maybe they're suppliers on their own, and that's down there in the little gray box down here. These are good projects. Don't get me wrong. They're great projects. Many of them have done really interesting stuff with traceability, gear change, improved quality on the boats, better pricing to the fishermen, better responses to some of the communities they're working with. These are very good projects. But if you want to achieve impact at global scale, you need to scale up these individual projects. How long would it take to fix Indonesian fisheries, 1,000 fishermen at a time? Well, doing the math in my head, we know there's 500,000 fishermen. That's a long time. So how do we get to the national scale? So where we've been working historically has been in the fishery zone or the aquaculture zone in the middle. What we started to really focus on is, can we translate this into national scale? Anyone who wants to really understand how that works, I believe the NFI Crab Council meeting, it's downstairs in the big ballrooms at the far end of the hotel here, is at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, and they will be talking about the 6 or 7 now national level FIPs that they are running through industry associations, and that they are financing through a voluntary levy they put on their imports. It's a very impressive operation. And that's how we have seen so much progress in blue swimming crab. Blue swimming crab is lots of tiny fisheries, all operating through lots of tiny mini plants that get aggregated up through about 16 major processors in Indonesia that come into this country through roughly the same number of importers. So the opportunity for someone here to go, no, I don't buy any of this collaborative stuff, I just want to do my own project with my own fishery and my own mini plant, they could have done it. And we spent 10 years saying, no, don't do it. Everyone's got to work together to raise the bar in Indonesia for all the fishermen, for all the fishery. And that's been very successful. So a lot of what we're doing now is around trying to get existing projects to figure out how to collaborate and go to scale. So, you know, it may not be a lot of new FIPs, but it may be FIPs that get a lot bigger, for example. So that's part of the Target 75 initiative.